Kendrick Lamar has done it again, and this time, the rap world is in shock. In what fans are calling a historic moment, Kendrick has seemingly ended Drake's reign with a series of verses, interviews, and social media moves that have left the hip-hop community buzzing. From the very first hints of his latest project to the viral reactions across TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, Kendrick's strategy has been precise, calculated, and devastatingly effective. This isn't just a diss track or a subtle jab. This is a masterclass in lyrical dominance, cultural influence, and strategic timing, showing why Kendrick remains one of the most respected and feared figures in the game. Every line, every reference, every delivery has fans dissecting the meaning, searching for hidden shots, and debating the fallout. The magnitude of Kendrick's approach lies in its subtlety and precision. Unlike typical feuds that rely on shouting matches or viral moments, Kendrick has taken a surgical approach, crafting bars and statements that simultaneously assert his superiority and challenge Drake's credibility. Fans are calling it a cultural takedown, noting that Kendrick's moves hit on multiple levels: lyrical skill, industry influence, and fan perception. Even casual listeners are captivated as the story unfolds in real time, creating one of the most talked-about moments in hip-hop history. Every verse Kendrick delivers feels calculated, showcasing his mastery of storytelling, wordplay, and timing. He references shared history, past collaborations, and industry dynamics in ways that highlight his dominance without ever appearing desperate or reactive. The impact is immediate. Fans dissect each bar, sharing interpretations and debating implications, while Drake's own camp faces mounting pressure to respond. Social media has exploded with reaction videos, lyric breakdowns, and debates, solidifying Kendrick's move as a defining moment in the rap landscape. What makes this takedown historic isn't just the personal angle, it's the broader cultural message. Kendrick is reminding the world why he is considered a generational talent, a rapper whose influence goes beyond music into shaping the values, expectations, and standards of modern hip-hop. While Drake dominates streams and headlines, Kendrick has used artistry, strategy, and precision to assert dominance in a way that cannot be ignored. The proof is clear: bars, impact, and the reaction of the community alike. This isn't just a moment of rivalry, it's a turning point. Kendrick Lamar has proven that influence, skill, and respect in hip-hop aren't just measured by numbers but by precision, thought, and cultural resonance. Fans are watching closely, sharing every lyric, and debating the long-term implications. In doing so, Kendrick has once again reminded the world why he is a living legend, and why, for now, Drake may have been outmaneuvered. Kendrick Lamar's latest moves in the rap game have left the industry and fans reeling. In a series of lyrical drops, strategic social media posts, and public appearances, Kendrick has sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world, with many declaring that he has officially ended Drake. Unlike typical rap beefs that rely on confrontational diss tracks of viral controversies, Kendrick's approach is a masterclass in subtlety, precision, and cultural dominance. Every lyric, bar, and public statement has been carefully calculated to assert his supremacy, challenge Drake's credibility, and shift the narrative in his favor. The significance of these moves goes far beyond the music itself. It is a demonstration of power, influence, and artistry that only someone of Kendrick's stature could pull off. Fans and critics alike have been dissecting every detail, from hidden references in his lyrics to the timing of his releases, searching for proof of what many are calling a historic moment in hip-hop. The unfolding saga began months ago, with Kendrick dropping hints about his upcoming project and the perspectives he planned to address. Early reactions from fans suggested that the album, or even just his pre-release strategy, would tackle industry dynamics, personal reflection, and subtle commentary aimed at peers, including Drake. Unlike a conventional feud, Kendrick's approach was not confrontational in the obvious sense. Rather, it was intellectual, artistic, and layered with metaphorical precision. Every lyric seemed to serve a dual purpose, telling a personal story while simultaneously highlighting industry truths. Listeners quickly realized that Kendrick's content was calculated to provoke discussion, encourage analysis, and assert dominance without resorting to cheap shots or public theatrics. As the first tracks and interviews surfaced, it became clear that Kendrick was operating on another level. His bars were meticulously structured, blending references to his shared history with Drake, industry shifts, and personal growth. Lines that initially seemed casual or introspective revealed themselves as pointed observations about loyalty, artistry, and credibility. Fans began breaking down the lyrics on social media, debating their meaning, and creating a frenzy around every subtle jab. The genius of Kendrick's approach lies in its sophistication. He does not need to scream or make headlines with drama. His words, context, and delivery speak volumes, establishing authority and control over the narrative. Kendrick's strategy has also involved timing and cultural resonance. Every drop, whether a verse, snippet, or public statement, has been released when it carries maximum impact. Fans note that the sequencing, references, and lyrical emphasis are calculated to dominate attention and provoke reaction. Drake's camp, despite their usual media presence, has largely been on the defensive, forced to respond to Kendrick's narrative rather than control their own. Social media exploded as each new development surfaced, with fans dissecting bars, analyzing Instagram stories, and debating the broader implications. TikTok trends, Twitter threads, and Instagram Reels amplified the narrative, turning the feud into a cultural event that extends far beyond the confines of hip-hop. Lyrically, Kendrick demonstrates why he is considered a generational talent. His storytelling remains unparalleled, blending personal insight with industry critique and cultural commentary. In tracks that fans suspect contain shots at Drake, he masterfully weaves metaphors, historical references, and double entendres, creating multiple layers of interpretation. Listeners are challenged to engage, analyze, and contextualize, which is precisely the brilliance of Kendrick's approach. Unlike simpler confrontations in rap, this is a battle of intellect and artistry. Every reference, cadence, and punchline contributes to an overarching narrative of dominance and influence. Beyond the personal rivalry, Kendrick's moves signal a shift in the larger hip-hop landscape. He demonstrates that influence is not merely about streams, chart positions, or social media metrics. It's about narrative control, cultural impact, and artistic integrity. Drake, while immensely successful commercially, is suddenly being positioned in contrast to Kendrick's precision. The social media response has been unprecedented. Every snippet, lyric, and appearance has triggered viral debates, memes, and reaction videos. Fans have created threads dissecting every reference, comparing flows, and debating who holds the upper hand. Analysts and commentators have joined the conversation, examining industry implications, the subtle power dynamics between Kendrick and Drake, and the historical significance of the moment. The cultural conversation generated by Kendrick's moves rivals the attention that any major rap album or collaboration might receive, solidifying his position as a cultural powerhouse. Emotionally, Part 1 of this saga highlights Kendrick's skill in balancing aggression with poise. Unlike confrontational beefs driven by ego or social media spectacle, Kendrick delivers his dominance with restraint, precision, and intellect. This makes his statements hit harder because they are measured, intentional, and backed by artistry. Fans and fellow artists alike are witnessing a masterclass in strategy, reinforcing Kendrick's status as a leader, innovator, and visionary in hip-hop. In conclusion, Part 1 of Kendrick Lamar's strategic takedown of Drake illustrates the genius behind his approach. Through careful timing, lyrical mastery, cultural commentary, and strategic narrative control, Kendrick has created a moment that will be studied and remembered for years. This is more than a feud. It is a historic display of artistry, intellect, and dominance that redefines what it means to assert supremacy in the modern hip-hop landscape. Kendrick Lamar's calculated moves against Drake have continued to dominate the conversation, and Part 2 of this saga reveals just how precise and intentional his strategy has been. By now, it is clear that this is not a simple feud. It is a carefully orchestrated display of lyrical prowess, cultural insight, and narrative control. Every verse Kendrick drops, every public statement, and every social media post has been designed to assert dominance while remaining understated and sophisticated. Fans and critics alike are dissecting the layers of meaning, analyzing references, and debating implications, proving that Kendrick's influence extends far beyond mid-chart success. Part 2 focuses on the escalation of the situation, the responses from the hip-hop community, and the ways Kendrick has leveraged artistry, timing, and public perception to solidify his position as the current standard-bearer in rap. After the initial shock of Kendrick's opening maneuvers, the world watched closely for the next moves. Fans noted that Kendrick has carefully layered subtle references and implied messages in interviews, performances, and lyric videos, ensuring that the narrative continuously evolves in his favor. Unlike traditional rap conflicts that rely on overt attacks, Kendrick's approach has been cerebral, forcing listeners to decode his verses, recognize historical context, and understand the depth of his commentary. This tactic has amplified his influence, as it transforms casual engagement into active analysis, keeping fans invested in every development. It is a rare example of artistry being used as a strategic tool to command attention and shift perception. One of the critical elements of Part 2 is Kendrick's ability to maintain control of the narrative without ever appearing reactionary. While Drake's camp has historically been media-savvy and reactive, Kendrick's calculated approach has positioned him as the orchestrator rather than a participant in a feud. He leveraged the power of implication, precision, and timing, allowing fans to draw connections without needing overt confrontation. This subtle dominance demonstrates his understanding of both hip-hop culture and public perception, proving that true influence comes not from volume but from strategy and intellect. Fans have praised this approach, with social media erupting in detailed breakdowns of his lyrics, metaphors, and implied commentary. The escalation in Part 2 also highlights Kendrick's lyrical brilliance. His bars continue to showcase storytelling mastery, social commentary, and personal insight, all while maintaining a tone of quiet authority. Lines referencing past collaborations, industry dynamics, and shared experiences with Drake are layered with double meanings and cultural context. Listeners are compelled to pay attention, analyze references, and engage in debates about his intentions and messages. The genius lies in Kendrick's ability to communicate multiple messages simultaneously, asserting dominance, reflecting on his legacy, and challenging peers to elevate their craft, all without resorting to blatant disrespect or theatrics. Production choices during this phase of the saga further reinforce Kendrick's artistry and strategy. Whether in tracks released from his ongoing projects or snippets shared via social media, the instrumentation, cadence, and tonal shifts are carefully aligned with the narrative. Samba, contemplative beats underscore subtle jabs, while dynamic rhythms amplify lines meant to assert dominance or highlight skill. The cohesion between production and lyricism makes each move feel intentional and impactful, enhancing the overall perception of Kendrick as both a musical genius and a strategic thinker. The hip-hop community's response has been immediate and intense. Analysts, critics, and fellow artists have taken to social media to weigh in, often acknowledging Kendrick's dominance while dissecting the layers of his bars. Fans on platforms like Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram have been engaged in non-stop debates, with threads detailing every reference, comparison, and implied shot at Drake. The cultural momentum generated by this conversation has positioned Kendrick not merely as a rapper, but as a central figure shaping the current state and future of hip-hop. The dialogue extends beyond individual bars, touching on credibility, artistry, and leadership within the genre. Part 2 also emphasizes the psychological dimension of Kendrick's approach. By remaining measured, strategic, and precise, he exerts pressure on Drake indirectly, influencing fan perception and industry narratives without ever engaging in overt conflict. The effect is amplified by social media, where fans amplify every nuance, lyric, and subtle hint. Kendrick's control over the narrative demonstrates a mastery of influence and perception, turning what could have been a standard rivalry into a historical example of strategic artistry. Every move is deliberate, every lyric is calculated, and the impact is magnified by the audience's active participation in the unfolding story. Emotionally, Kendrick continues to balance introspection with assertiveness. While Part 1 highlighted his authority and precision, Part 2 adds nuance, showcasing his ability to reflect on legacy, artistic responsibility, and cultural influence. Vulnerability, humility, and confidence intermingle, creating a portrait of an artist who is both human and masterful. Fans resonate with this balance, seeing Kendrick not only as a dominant figure but as a thoughtful, intentional artist shaping the narrative on his own terms. Ultimately, Part 2 of Kendrick Lamar's takedown of Drake reinforces why this moment is historic. Through lyrical precision, strategic narrative control, the sophistication of his approach, combined with the community's active engagement, elevates this rivalry from a typical feud to a defining cultural moment. Part 2 demonstrates that influence, artistry, and intellect can outweigh commercial metrics, proving that Kendrick Lamar remains one of the most formidable forces in the music industry today. Kendrick Lamar's campaign to assert dominance over Drake has entered a new phase with Part 3 of this unfolding saga, showcasing not only his lyrical genius but also his unparalleled understanding of cultural influence and strategic timing. By now, it is clear that Kendrick is not simply engaging in a personal rivalry. He is redefining what it means to hold power in modern hip-hop. His moves are meticulous, his delivery precise, and his messaging layered, requiring listeners to engage on multiple levels. Every bar, every metaphor, and every public statement has been crafted to assert authority, challenge Drake's standing, and cement Kendrick's legacy as a generational talent. What distinguishes this phase is how Kendrick combines artistic mastery with a clear understanding of the audience's psychology, ensuring that every move resonates deeply and sparks conversation. At this stage, Kendrick's lyrical approach has become increasingly sophisticated. Lines that might initially appear casual or introspective reveal deeper meanings when examined in context, touching on shared histories with Drake, industry politics, and broader cultural commentary. Fans have noticed references to past collaborations, subtle critiques of artistic choices, and nuanced reflections on the state of the music industry. Every verse operates on multiple levels. It showcases Kendrick's skill, communicates a message to Drake, and engages listeners who are eager to unpack the layers of meaning. This multidimensionality has transformed the feud into a cultural event, elevating it beyond personal conflict into a statement about artistry, influence, and credibility. Production choices have also played a significant role in amplifying Kendrick's impact during Part 3. The beats, samples, and sonic textures complement his lyrical intent, creating an immersive experience that reinforces the emotional and narrative weight of each track. Somber, minimalist arrangements underscore introspective lines, while punchy, dynamic beats emphasize moments of dominance and assertion. The cohesion between Kendrick's delivery and the production underscores his meticulous attention to detail, demonstrating that every element, from cadence to instrumentation, is carefully designed to enhance the overall narrative. Listeners are drawn into a fully realized world where artistry and strategy intertwine seamlessly. The public and social media reaction has been extraordinary. Fans have created detailed breakdowns, lyric analyses, and viral clips highlighting the layers of Kendrick's bars, turning each release into a moment of debate and discussion. Analysts and industry insiders have weighed in, dissecting the subtleties of his approach and recognizing the long-term implications for Drake's position in the industry. Social media platforms have amplified every nuance, ensuring that Kendrick's influence extends far beyond his immediate fan base. Every verse sparks conversation, every reference generates speculation, and every calculated move strengthens Kendrick's dominance in the public eye. A key element of Part 3 is Kendrick's ability to assert his supremacy without descending into overt confrontation. Unlike typical rap feuds, which often rely on aggression, insults, or social media theatrics, Kendrick employs a strategy rooted in intellect, artistry, and subtlety. He lets his bars do the work, allowing listeners to draw conclusions while maintaining an air of authority and control. This approach not only enhances his credibility but also elevates the cultural conversation, showcasing how influence can be wielded with precision rather than volume. Fans have widely praised this tactic, acknowledging that Kendrick's mastery lies in his ability to dominate through intellect and artistry rather than spectacle. Emotionally, Part 3 reinforces the complexity of Kendrick's artistry. His lyrics blend vulnerability with confidence, personal reflection with broader societal commentary. This duality allows listeners to connect with him on a human level while simultaneously recognizing his authority and expertise. Lines that explore his growth, responsibility, and legacy resonate deeply, as fans see both the personal and cultural stakes at play. The balance of introspection and dominance makes Kendrick's performance compelling, ensuring that every track carries weight and meaning beyond the surface level. Culturally, this phase of the feud demonstrates Kendrick's broader influence on the rap landscape. He challenges the notion that commercial metrics, viral moments, or streaming numbers define supremacy. Instead, he asserts that artistry, credibility, and cultural resonance are the true measures of power. Drake, despite his commercial dominance, is positioned as a counterpoint to Kendrick's strategic and artistic control, illustrating how influence extends beyond popularity. The conversation surrounding Part 3 emphasizes the importance of substance, integrity, and narrative mastery in shaping the future of hip-hop. Part 3 also highlights Kendrick's mastery of timing and context. Every release, snippet, or statement is strategically deployed to maximize impact, forcing fans and the industry to pay attention. By controlling the pace and narrative, Kendrick ensures that he dictates the terms of engagement, placing Drake and others on the defensive. The effect is magnified by social media, where fans dissect every detail, speculate on implications, and amplify Kendrick's messaging. This careful orchestration demonstrates that dominance in modern hip-hop is as much about strategy and perception as it is about skill and talent. Ultimately, Part 3 of Kendrick Lamar's takedown of Drake cements the narrative that this is a historic moment in hip-hop. Through lyrical precision, cultural awareness, strategic timing, and emotional resonance, Kendrick has elevated a personal rivalry into a defining moment for the genre. Fans, analysts, and fellow artists recognize the significance, and social media buzz ensures the story continues to evolve. Part 3 demonstrates that Kendrick's mastery lies not only in his bars but in his ability to shape perception, control narrative, and assert dominance in a way that is both subtle and undeniable. Kendrick Lamar's unfolding saga against Drake reaches a critical point in Part 4, where the artistry, strategy, and cultural implications of his moves become even more apparent. By this stage, it is clear that Kendrick is not simply engaging in a personal rivalry. He is executing a masterclass in narrative control, demonstrating how influence in hip-hop extends far beyond streaming numbers or chart dominance. Every lyric, bar, and social media maneuver has been meticulously planned to assert his authority, challenge Drake's credibility, and reshape the conversation around artistry and legacy in the modern rap landscape. Fans and critics alike are analyzing every reference, dissecting each metaphor, and debating the broader implications, solidifying Kendrick's position as both a musical genius and a cultural strategist. Part 4 of the saga highlights Kendrick's ability to balance subtlety with impact. Whereas earlier phases, this stage demonstrates a more direct assertion of dominance while maintaining his signature sophistication. Kendrick's verses weave together storytelling, social commentary, and reflections on personal growth, creating a multidimensional narrative that challenges Drake both publicly and artistically. Each line is carefully crafted, combining clever wordplay, historical references, and cultural insights that reward close attention. Fans on social media platforms such as Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram have been dissecting these bars in real time, creating detailed breakdowns, reaction videos, and discussion threads that amplify the impact of Kendrick's strategy. The lyrical brilliance of Part 4 is underscored by Kendrick's mastery of cadence, rhyme schemes, and delivery. He alternates between contemplative introspection and assertive dominance, creating a dynamic listening experience that demands engagement. Lines addressing loyalty, authenticity, and the pressures of fame resonate not only as personal reflections but also as pointed critiques of peers, including Drake. This duality, personal vulnerability combined with cultural commentary, has become a hallmark of Kendrick's approach, demonstrating why he is widely regarded as one of the most insightful and influential voices in hip-hop. Fans are not just entertained. They are challenged to interpret, analyze, and reflect, further cementing the cultural weight of his moves. Production choices in Part 4 enhance the impact of Kendrick's lyrics, reinforcing the mood, narrative, and emotional resonance of each track. Subtle instrumentation, layered beats, and carefully chosen samples provide a sonic backdrop that amplifies both introspective and assertive moments. Minimalist arrangements underscore his reflective lines, while more complex, rhythmically intense compositions highlight his dominance and command. This attention to sonic detail ensures that each song serves the narrative fully, creating a cohesive listening experience that blends artistry and strategy seamlessly. The synergy between lyricism and production elevates Kendrick's message, ensuring that every move resonates both intellectually and emotionally. The broader cultural response during this phase has been intense. Fans and analysts alike recognize that Kendrick's moves extend beyond personal rivalry. They are shaping the narrative around hip-hop's current state and future direction. Discussions about artistry, credibility, and influence dominate social media feeds, with Kendrick's strategy being lauded as a blueprint for combining lyrical skill, cultural awareness, and narrative control. By contrast, Drake's responses, or lack thereof, have fueled speculation and debate, further amplifying the perception that Kendrick is in control of the dialogue. The intensity of fan engagement highlights how Kendrick has transformed a potential feud into a cultural phenomenon, capturing attention across generations and demographics. Part 4 also emphasizes Kendrick's strategic mastery of timing and perception. Each release, snippet, or public statement is carefully calibrated to maximize impact, keeping listeners invested and the conversation alive. By controlling the flow of information, Kendrick ensures that he dictates the terms of engagement, forcing Drake and others into reactive positions. Fans dissect every detail, speculate on intentions, and amplify his moves through social media engagement, creating a feedback loop that reinforces Kendrick's dominance. This strategic orchestration demonstrates that modern hip-hop power is as much about perception, influence, and narrative as it is about raw skill or commercial success. Emotionally, this stage of the saga underscores Kendrick's ability to combine vulnerability with authority. While asserting dominance over Drake, he simultaneously reflects on his own growth, responsibilities, and artistic legacy. This balance allows fans to connect with him on a human level while recognizing his mastery of craft and strategy. Lines exploring personal challenges, industry pressures, and cultural commentary resonate deeply, creating a complex and engaging emotional landscape. The interplay of introspection, confidence, and cultural critique is a defining feature of Kendrick's approach, ensuring that every track leaves a lasting impression. Part 4 also highlights the historical significance of Kendrick's moves. By combining lyrical brilliance, cultural insight, and strategic precision, he has transformed what could have been a typical rap feud into a defining moment for modern hip-hop. The broader industry and fan communities have taken notice, analyzing the implications for artistry, credibility, and influence. Kendrick's approach demonstrates that dominance in hip-hop is measured not just by popularity or commercial success, but by the ability to shape narratives, influence culture, and command respect through intelligence and artistry. Ultimately, Part 4 reinforces Kendrick Lamar's mastery over both the art and strategy of modern hip-hop. Through meticulous lyricism, production excellence, cultural commentary, and timing, he has created a moment that transcends personal rivalry, solidifying his status as a generational talent. Fans continue to dissect, debate, and celebrate his moves, ensuring that this saga will be remembered as a defining cultural moment. Kendrick's dominance is not just measured by bars or streams. It is measured by the narrative, influence, and lasting impact he creates, and Part 4 of this saga proves that he controls every element with unmatched precision. Kendrick Lamar's saga against Drake reaches its climactic phase in Part 5, solidifying what many fans are already calling a historic moment in hip-hop. By this stage, the narrative Kendrick has built over previous parts coalesces into a powerful statement of dominance, artistry, and cultural influence. Unlike typical rap conflicts driven by ego or social media drama, Kendrick has constructed a campaign that is as intellectual as it is musical, leveraging lyricism, production, and timing to assert his supremacy. Every verse, snippet, and strategic move underscores his authority, while simultaneously challenging Drake's credibility and reshaping the narrative of what true influence in hip-hop looks like. Part 5 is the culmination of weeks of anticipation, analysis, and fan engagement, demonstrating Kendrick's mastery over both the art and business of rap. In this final stage, Kendrick doubles down on the elements that have defined his campaign: precision, layered meaning, and emotional resonance. The verses are rich with references to past collaborations, industry dynamics, and cultural observations that underscore his dominance. While earlier parts relied heavily on subtle implications, Part 5 blends subtlety with direct commentary, creating a narrative that is both complex and unmistakable. Fans immediately notice the lyrical craftsmanship, pointing out clever wordplay, historical allusions, and nuanced critiques aimed at Drake. The result is a multi-layered narrative that challenges listeners to think critically while being entertained, further reinforcing Kendrick's reputation as one of hip-hop's most cerebral and influential artists. Production choices in Part 5 are just as deliberate as the lyrics. Kendrick's team has careful, rhythm-driven tracks accentuate moments of assertive dominance. This attention to sonic detail ensures that every verse lands with maximum impact, reinforcing the themes of precision, strategy, and cultural authority. The synergy between lyrics and production in Part 5 highlights Kendrick's meticulous approach to album making and narrative construction, proving that his dominance is rooted in both artistry and craft. The cultural impact of Part 5 cannot be overstated. Social media platforms have been flooded with fan reactions, breakdowns, and debate threads, making this feud a viral and generational phenomenon. Analysts and fellow artists alike have weighed in, examining Kendrick's strategy, lyrical skill, and cultural influence. By contrast, Drake's responses, whether subtle or absent, have only intensified the perception that Kendrick has seized control of the narrative. Part 5 represents not just a personal victory but a demonstration of how influence in modern hip-hop extends beyond commercial metrics to include narrative control, artistry, and cultural resonance. Fans across generations have dissected every lyric, shared insights, and debated the implications, solidifying the moment as a turning point in contemporary rap history. Part 5 also reinforces Kendrick's mastery of timing and psychological strategy. Each release, snippet, or public comment is timed to maximize impact, keeping fans engaged and forcing the competition into reactive positions. The effect is amplified by social media, where every detail is dissected, speculated on, and shared. This orchestration demonstrates Kendrick's understanding that dominance in hip-hop is not just about skill but about perception, influence, and cultural command. By controlling the narrative, he ensures that the story unfolds according to his design, further solidifying his authority and legacy. Emotionally, this phase of the saga highlights Kendrick's ability to balance assertiveness with introspection. His verses address personal growth, legacy, and cultural responsibility, offering a nuanced perspective that resonates deeply with fans. Lines reflecting on loyalty, credibility, and the pressures of fame are delivered with a blend of vulnerability and confidence, creating a compelling portrait of an artist who is both human and masterful. This emotional depth strengthens the cultural impact, allowing listeners to engage on multiple levels, as fans of rap, as observers of strategy, and as participants in a broader dialogue about artistry and influence. Part 5 also emphasizes Kendrick's historical significance. By combining lyrical skill, strategic precision, cultural insight, and emotional resonance, he has transformed what might have been a standard rivalry into a defining moment in hip-hop. Discussions about credibility, artistry, and influence dominate social media feeds and music commentary, underscoring Kendrick's ability to shape both culture and narrative. He has demonstrated that dominance is measured not just by streams or chart positions, but by the ability to control the story, influence perception, and leave a lasting imprint on the genre. Ultimately, Part 5 confirms that Kendrick Lamar has executed a masterclass in artistry, strategy, and influence. Every move, verse, and calculated reference has built to this moment, leaving an indelible mark on the rap world. Fans continue to dissect, debate, and celebrate his supremacy, solidifying the conclusion of the saga as a historic turning point. Kendrick's dominance is now undeniable, measured not just in bars but in cultural resonance, narrative control, and long-term impact. Part 5 cements his position as a generational figure, an intellectual force, and a master of hip-hop strategy, demonstrating that in the battle of influence, Kendrick Lamar reigns supreme. Kendrick Lamar has once again proven why he's a living legend in hip-hop with this historic showdown against Drake. Through unmatched lyricism, strategic precision, and cultural insight, Kendrick has shown the world that true dominance isn't measured by streams or chart positions. It's about narrative control, artistry, and influence. Fans everywhere have dissected his bars, debated every reference, and analyzed every move, making this more than a feud. It's a defining moment in modern rap history. This saga reminds us that Kendrick is not just an artist. He is a strategist, a storyteller, and a cultural leader. Every verse, every subtle jab, and every carefully timed release has reinforced his supremacy, while inspiring discussions about artistry, credibility, and legacy. If you haven't fully witnessed this historic moment, now is the time. Dive into Kendrick's music, explore his lyrics, and join the conversation that's reshaping hip-hop. This is more than entertainment. It's history in the making.